Adam, man, we are in the fourth and final series of the Find a Wins for the Vegas odds, and we're starting with Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt, or I should say, finishing with them. This one, man,
Yeah,
actually has a little, it's got some personal connection to it. It's going to make it kind of difficult, man, with Tennessee there in this one. So kind
yeah,
of been dreading this a little bit. I know it's going to be kind of difficult. So got to be realistic, while also being a Tennessee fan. But again, the good thing about these, man, the wins are kind of there for us. We're just trying to find those wins that Vegas says. So that does make it a little easier. I just want to
yep.
reiterate that for anybody watching, we are not picking team schedules. Seen a lot of comments on that on some of our clips about, I think a lot of people think we're picking the actual schedules. We're just going by Vegas odds. These
Yep.
odds, we have noticed something today that they've kind of been changing a little bit. So if you do look back at some of our videos, and you see, hey, those odds are different than what you had in the video. Vegas, man, it's forever changing, with its
Right.
odds. So as the season, we get closer to the season, this will be even more, I feel like different than, uh, probably all the way up to the start of the season, man, before they lock in kind of where
Right.
those odds are going to be. So just a reminder on that. Man, I say we just go ahead and get into the tough one right off the rip here. And let's just go. Let's go Tennessee, man. Tennessee football. Do you want to
Yep.
start us off on this one, or do you want me to go first and we can go back and forth, however you want to do?
Man, if you wanna go first, go for it, man. I
All right.
will say this though. It's gonna be difficult, obviously, to kind of put the feelings aside on this one.
Yeah.
Everybody that watches us knows. I mean, look what Michael's wearing. I mean, everybody knows that we're diehard Tennessee fans. We will be putting out entire schedule prediction and breakdown episode for the Vols. I would
Yeah.
imagine in a few weeks, Mike. So this is
Yeah.
completely different from that, and no matter what we say on this, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate over to that particular episode. So
Absolutely, man. And things will change, even maybe by the time we do that and we start really breaking things down. But again, we're finding the Vegas wins. This one's interesting, man, because Vegas actually, this is another one that popped. We had something similar, on the series that we've been doing, where the Vegas, it's even, man. They got them at 7.5, but it's dead even. We're gonna do kind of like we did on that last one too, but I think for us in this, it's going to be easier to feel comfortable finding 7 wins that we feel comfortable about.
yep,
So I think we're going to go under on this one with the 7 wins. Just to, again, this isn't a prediction, but this is just going to be, we're trying to find these wins here. So we've been going with the Vegas odds. So when we're dead even, it's obviously going to be easier to find the under on it. Um, so we're going to look for 7 wins here for Tennessee. Man, right off the rip, Tennessee's playing Furman, so I got a win there. So we are starting it off, a little bit easier. And man, the second game of the season, I'm going to take this as a win, but we got Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech, and
yep,
they that's a tough one. I saying I'm taking that as a win mainly because they also, of what Georgia Tech maybe has lost and kind of what I don't see them having the greatest year this coming year. Um,
yep,
that's a tough one for game two. I feel like for us.
for sure.
But I'm gonna say Furman, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State's our third one. So I think we go 3-0 to start off. Um, and I'm gonna skip around here because I'm not really, I know we talked about this. I haven't really got to look at these as much as I had previous ones.
Right.
Um, and let's see, 7. So Furman, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State. Jump down to some of these that let's see. I got Kentucky on November 7th. That'll be a fourth one. I think Tennessee's going to beat Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt at the end of the season. So that's 5 wins. So I need to find 2 more.
Yep.
I'm going to take Arkansas, even though it is at Arkansas. I feel like Tennessee. I think we both kind of feel Arkansas is going to be weak, this year.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't have a good record last year, and then I mean they've even and some of the things players they've lost going into this year. I feel like, um, It's going to be a tough one for them. So that'll be 6 wins. And let's see. I'm going to take, it's between South Carolina and Auburn for me on this, but it
Okay.
is at South Carolina. And that'll be an interesting game with Auburn coming to Tennessee because of, the coaching at Auburn now.
Yeah.
So that does increase that difficulty. But being a home game, I'm going to take Auburn for my 7th win. So again, that's Furman, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, Auburn, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. 7 wins. That's
Yeah.
7 that I want to lock in there on that. And some of those I do feel pretty good about. Like I said, Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech's a sneaky game
Yeah.
um, for sure. Um, and but the rest of those, I think Auburn's going to be that could be a tough one too. Um,
Yeah.
but I went Auburn on this one being a home game over South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I mean, you would like to think that Tennessee has that home field advantage,
Yeah,
even though we slipped up at home a couple times
you
last
did.
year,
You did.
unfortunately. But I know we've talked about it on the pod before. We want to see Tennessee take that next step and become a threat on the road. I mean, really
Yeah,
dominate road wins as well. So that kind of leads
yeah,
us into this. 8-4 last season, Mike. I mean, some people consider that a disappointing season.
mm,
Um, considering the debacle that happened with Nico and bringing in Joey Aguilar and stuff like that. I think 8-4, even though we went out on a terrible note, losing that bowl game the way we
yeah,
did, 8-4 is what it is. So
yeah,
trying to find 7 wins. Obviously Furman, like you said, Furman, that's a W.
yeah,
Um, at Georgia Tech, I actually, before you even said anything about that game or kind of talked about how that could be a sneaky different type of game, I actually wrote sleeper game next to it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, because it is. You don't know what's going to happen. That's going to be Tennessee's. Realistically, after that game, we might know a little bit more about what kind of team we actually have, Mike. To be
yeah,
honest with you, um, but for the sake of these 7 wins, I mean we've got a tough schedule ahead of us. I'm going to chalk that up as a W. Kennesaw State W. I'm going to go at Arkansas W. Um, find some of these road wins here. We're going to go at South Carolina W. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh, yeah, Kentucky, obviously, that's 6. And then Vanderbilt. That's 7 wins. Mike, I'd like to think that we're going to get more than 7 wins. I mean,
yeah.
I actually feel comfortable about maybe one more of these teams, realistically, because you don't like as a Tennessee fan, you don't want to swallow the fact that you're going to take a L to Texas, Auburn, Alabama, and LSU all at home. I mean, you don't want that to happen. Obviously,
Right.
you
You at least
you
want
want yeah, you want to find at least one or two of those. You know, two would be great.
Yeah.
At least
And
one for
Texas
sure.
too. I mean, because you got that's some tough home games.
Yeah,
Texas, Alabama, LSU, and then like I said, Auburn. So you like to definitely
yeah,
see one or two of those home wins
for
out of that.
sure.
So
This is one of the tougher Tennessee schedules that I can remember in the recent years, Mike. To be honest with you,
yeah,
so there you have it. I mean, that's my 7 wins: Furman, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, Arkansas, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Um,
yeah,
talking about revenge game at Vanderbilt. That'll be nice to go down there and hopefully get a dub. When they
yeah,
came into Neyland last year and beat us, man, that was a hard pill to swallow right there.
yeah. That was a tough one, man. I think that is one of those things that last year you talked about. eight and
Hmm.
four on the season, yeah. But the bowl win ending like we did, or losing like we did, and then um, Vanderbilt at the last game of the season at home. It's just those are
Yeah.
the type of things that made last year really feel like a disappointing season, man. And I
Yep.
think that kind of says too about where Heupel is with Tennessee right now, and the expectations are
Yep.
are higher. There's several teams even in the SEC, that an 8-4 season they would be very happy with,
Yep.
and so I think that's why it felt disappointing for us though too. Some of the things that we had opportunity for as the season went, that kind of
Yep.
just felt disappointing. Um, yeah, so hopefully, like you said, I hope we win more than that. But again, we're going off these Vegas here stats. Next on, man, we got Texas, and Texas is 9.5 with favoring the under. I believe you said on that, so we're going to be going for
Yeah.
nine wins for Texas here.
Yep.
Um, so again, it's 9.5 Vegas odds favoring the under with 9 wins that we're going to find here on that. Um, and I'll let you, man, if you want to go first on this one, just take a look over at their schedule
Yep.
there and see if we can
Yep.
muster up 9 wins here for Texas.
Yeah. It's going to be a tall task. I mean, a lot of a nice mixture of tough teams here, and obviously some easy wins.
Mhm.
But Mike, right off the rip, I mean, you've got a W against Texas State, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but then things get very interesting very quickly. I mean, you're talking
yeah,
about the second game of the season, Ohio State.
yeah,
So that's tough. I'm just gonna may come back to it, may not, but who knows? It is in Texas, but anyway, we're gonna skip over that one for just a few minutes here. Third game of the season, you've got UTSA. I think that's a W.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah,
you've got, I think Florida at Texas. I mean, I think that's a W. Mississippi State, that's a W. At Missouri, even though it's on the road, I'm still going to give the edge to Texas. That's a W. Arkansas, that's a W. So where do I stand, Mike? One, two, three, four, five, six. I got 6 wins so far.
yeah. So you got to come up with three more.
Yep, let's come up with three more here, man.
Yeah,
So I'm looking at Tennessee, obviously. Um, you know, obviously, obviously, I know Texas can beat Tennessee. I mean, I do realize that I'm not delusional, but I like to try to give an edge to Tennessee just because it's at Tennessee. So I don't know if I want to chalk that up as me feeling 100% confident about it. Um, maybe that Oklahoma game, Mike. Let's go ahead and chalk that up as a W. It is a neutral site game. It's going to be played in Dallas, Texas, but they're still in Texas, man. So
yeah.
um, maybe more of a home game there. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, got 7. Let's find 2 more. Maybe Ole Miss at home. That's 8. And then you're really boiling it down to the last win here. I think I like Texas A&M on the road better, uh, at their hometown. So I'm not gonna give that to them. I think what I'm gonna do, Mike, this might be a shocker to everyone, but I'm gonna go ahead and give the ninth win to over Ohio State. I think Texas at home, Arch Manning at quarterback, the ungodly amount of money that I'm sure that they've spent in the portal and in recruiting and in NIL
Yeah.
at home, second game of the season. No one's really figured their team out yet. Um, they played last year, right? And it went down. Was it just like a super low scoring
It
game?
was 14-7 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very low scoring. Um,
Yeah. And Ohio State got the better of them, right? So,
yeah,
and we're talking about that was in Columbus, or that was in Ohio. So
yeah. And
now they're
Arch
coming
Manning
to
actually had a
Texas,
pretty terrible game.
right?
Um,
Eh,
Defense is what kept them in that. Yeah,
Yep. And if you remember Arch Arch Manning's like trajectory over the course of the year, I mean, everybody wrote him off. I think we even maybe called him a bust at one point early on in the
yeah,
season.
yeah,
But as the season got better and as it got deeper into it, he started to look more like what we expected of him. And I can only
yeah,
imagine with an entire off season
yeah.
that he's going to be ready. So I'm who knows, you may or may not disagree, but I'm going to go Texas State, Ohio State, UTSA, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, and Arkansas as my 9 wins for Texas.
Right. Yeah, I think. the key to this one, man, is there's going to be a couple you're not going to feel 100% confident about because like you got to that six and I was like, that's confident.
Yeah,
Now you got to get 9 wins because Vegas says nine or no, well 9.5 with the under, so we're going 9 wins. So you're going to have
right.
to pick a couple. I feel like that's iffy. Um,
Yep.
I do have some differences. I do want to point out I love you picking Ohio State as a team to pit of one of the wins just because it's Ohio State, man. Not necessarily say I'm going to agree with you on it, but
Yeah. Little revenge
I,
game, Mike. Little. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
I,
Maybe a little
I
revenge.
I get your points for sure, and so I do see some of the points, and I definitely want to address that. I just love that you picked them, and it almost makes me want to do it just out of spite. But um,
Well,
you know, I'll start out Texas State right off the rip. Yeah, obviously that's a win, and then UTSA, um, that's a win there. So that's two real obvious. I agree with Florida at Texas. I think they're going to beat Florida. Mississippi State at home. I'm gonna pick that Ole Miss game at home too there, and I do
okay.
think Ole Miss will be good, but this year, but that's gonna be one of those that kind of got to go out on not 100%, but I'm gonna
Right.
pick that out.
Right.
I do think they'll get Missouri for their sixth one. I think Arkansas that'll be my seventh. So
Okay.
now I got to find two more. I'm gonna also take Oklahoma. And when you actually kind of, I was a little iffy on that one, but when you said neutral site game, still going to be in Texas,
Yep.
um, that being neutral site like that, definitely, I think Texas is the better team going into this year. Overall, Oklahoma is gonna, it's not gonna be easy. It's one of those iffy ones. Like I
Right.
said, Oklahoma's got some returning players, so I'm gonna go A. So the comes down, like talking about the Ohio State at Texas, and that is a big game there. Being at Texas is big. Like I said, Arch Manning, I think he was starting to find his own a little bit there towards the end of the year, so it's definitely different. And I'm sure Texas is going to be stacked again this year with the recruits and having some players back. The only thing that worries me is Ohio State also has their quarterback and their main receiver back. Um,
True.
and this is a team that looked like really, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, that looked like one of the better teams in the nation last year. Um, Lost in a close game to Indiana that we
Right.
did call. Just throwing that out there for any Ohio State fans watching. We did call that one. Um,
Go back and watch the
yeah.
episode.
And then that might have drained the life out a little bit when they went on and and lost to Miami um, in the playoffs. Right, I think
Yep.
that's right. They lost to Miami. So the two teams they lost to last year did play in the national championship, and
It's
then they're
fair.
getting a lot of players back. So for those reasons, I'm not going to pick Ohio State as a win that I'm going to confidently, if I had to pick out of all these, and I hate to
Fair.
say it, and I'm trying to take my emotions completely out of it, but I think there's a better chance of Texas beating Tennessee at Tennessee than Ohio State, even though it's at Texas. Um, and if I had to throw a bet and money on it, and I hope it changes by the time we get to like talk about this game in the future. But I think I'm going to take Texas over Tennessee there for my ninth win. So again,
Yep.
it's Texas State, UTSA, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, and Arkansas for my nine
Fair.
wins.
Yep.
Sorry, Tennessee fans.
Yeah.
I did not want to do that, but
Yeah.
you know
Well,
what I'm saying.
I mean, it realistically, Mike, it may be the smarter thing to do. It probably makes more sense. I do like taking into consideration revenge type games and
Yeah.
motivating
Oh
factors.
yeah. Absolutely.
So maybe just a little bit of different take on it there. Doesn't mean
And
either one of us are
I
right or
like
wrong.
that. No, I think you made great arguments, man. With
Yeah.
picking Texas to beat Ohio State, and when it comes down to the time of the season, if that I'm sure that's going to be a big game. We'll probably make a little prediction or something. I
Oh
might be
yeah.
picking Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's just I'm trying to pick those wins based on how I feel, but I like that we have a little bit of it. That's probably our most different I mean, we've had some different picks, but
Yeah.
that's probably one that we really saw the most differently so far. And I think that's good to have a little bit of the different opinions on something to kind of throw to the audience out there that, we're not just always agreeing with each other on every single thing. So, um, but I still love your pick though. I actually like your pick better than my pick.
Right, right. Oh,
I I hope that's an L all day long for Ohio State, but
yeah.
um,
We don't have to wait too much longer either, Mike. I mean,
no, that's an
until
early
college
game.
football starts. You know.
Yeah, that's an early season game. So that'll be one of those games on the radar for sure, I think, early on, especially with how last year went and everything. So
Yep.
moving on to another Texas team, man, we got Texas A&M. Um, Texas A&M, the Vegas odds are 8.5, and they're slightly and just ever so slightly favoring the over on this one.
Yeah.
We're gonna take
Tough one.
9 wins. Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it was this close to being 8, man. Because if it would have, it's negative 115 over, negative 110 under. So I mean, you're very close on these odds to being deadlocked. So that
Yep.
obviously Vegas kind of feels like it go either way, but they're going to lean a little bit towards that over. So we're going to find 9 wins
Hmm.
for Texas A&M. I'll go first on this one, just kind of looking down through their schedule and see what I come up with. Um, I'm going to guess that first team, MO State, is that Missouri maybe? I'm not,
Yeah.
all right on
Yeah.
that.
It's
Okay.
Missouri State.
Yeah. So Missouri State, that's a win. First game of the season at Texas A&M. That's a win there. I'm gonna go ahead and take Arizona State at Texas A&M. Um, and Arizona State, I mean, they've been a team that, you know, definitely not a team you can overlook on your schedule. But I
Yep.
am going to take that as a win at Texas A&M. And Texas A&M starting out with 3 home games here. Obviously, I think Texas A&M is going to beat Kentucky at home. Um, I don't even question that. So that's going to be 3-0, I think, right off the rip. I just can't help it, man. just it just comes out so naturally. But
It's too
but
easy.
real, but let's be realistic. It's Kentucky at Texas A&M.
Right.
That's going to be a win. So that's
Right.
3-0 right there for them. Um, then they've got Arkansas at Texas A&M, man. That's another one I think is going to be a win for them. And I am
Hmm.
skipping a little bit, but I'm just kind of looking. And then Citadel at home. I mean, that's a fifth win there.
How
I'm
do?
starting to see maybe the over getting the 8.5
Yeah.
wins on the season. I'm starting to see it as I kind of go down through here a little bit because I haven't looked over their schedule yet.
This is the first team, Mike, that we've went over that has that type of game that deep into the season. I thought that Citadel game was so out of place when I looked at their schedule. It
It
threw me
really
off.
is, yeah. And so that's 5 wins right there with that. And backing up, I'm gonna take Missouri because I gotta find 9 here. I'm gonna take Missouri as a 6 win, even though it is at
Yep.
Missouri. Um, a little more uncomfortable there because Missouri is one of those teams, man. I don't think they're going to be a bad team, they haven't really been a bad team lately. It's just
Right.
if I'm taking the wins there for that, I'm going to take at South Carolina as a 7th win.
Okay.
I think that's just another win, even though that's a road game. Out of looking at the team, so I've got 7 there. Right, so it's Missouri State, Arizona State, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, Citadel, South Carolina. That's 7. So I got to come up with 2 more wins.
Yep.
And who have I got left? Though? At LSU, at Alabama. I just don't feel comfortable with those two. Um, I do have Texas at home, Tennessee at home, and
Hmm.
then at Oklahoma.
Yep.
Texas and Texas A&M such a big rivalry, and
Yep.
Texas, gives them a really hard time. Again, I hate to do this, but I'm going to take Tennessee at home when I'm looking at those 5 remaining there between
Yep.
Alabama and LSU.
Hmm.
Um, and it comes down to Oklahoma and Texas. And I know that Texas is a home game, but based on kind of how I think Texas even got them last year, so there's a
Yeah.
chance for a revenge game. I know you like those, but something this leans for me to take Oklahoma, even though it's at Oklahoma. I
Yep.
just Texas just seems to be that rivalry game of the team that's got a little bit of edge on them. So I'm going to go out Oklahoma. So one more time: Missouri State, Arizona State, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, Citadel, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Oklahoma for 9 wins.
Gotcha. Yeah. So as you've been going over it, Mike, I found my 8 wins. I ain't gonna say
So we're
easily,
going
but
9 wins on this.
right. I'm still trying to find that ninth
Oh,
win is
gotcha,
what I
gotcha.
was getting at.
Got you,
So
got you. Sorry.
yeah. And I'm struggling with it a little bit. And really oddly enough, it does boil down to the same three teams that you were looking at there. So I mean, without question, you're looking at 3 wins off the rip, all home games. Missouri State,
Um,
never heard of them. Arizona State and Kentucky,
yeah,
and then um, Arkansas at Missouri and Citadel. And then
yeah,
I'm going to take the at South Carolina game as a win. And based off of Tennessee's history and Josh Heupel's history on the road in the SEC,
yeah,
I'm going to say that at Texas A&M,
yeah,
Tennessee falls to Texas A&M. So that's 8 wins right off the rip. I'm looking at what you were looking at LSU, at Bama,
yeah,
and at Oklahoma and Texas. um, if you're asking me out of those 4 teams, who do I think is going to be the weakest team? It's got to be Oklahoma. And you know, I really don't see any other way around it but choosing them as well. I hate to make it all dramatic and stuff, but
yeah,
I think you hit the nail on the head there with picking these because they're kind of the more. It does get tough and it does kind of you get torn a little bit. But if you really boil it down, I do think that out of those 4 remaining teams, Oklahoma is the weaker opponent. Um,
yeah,
but I also struggled with the fact that you got John Mateer at Oklahoma. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, now Alabama fans they may have a different story to tell, but from what I understand, Alabama, I don't know what kind of situation they've got going on at quarterback. I don't know who their guy
yeah.
is. I don't know what they're doing.
True.
I don't know if they've announced a guy. I don't know if he came out of the pool. I don't know anything about what's going on down there at quarterback. So who
Maybe we're
knows?
giving too much respect to Alabama over Oklahoma here in this case too, being at
Maybe
Alabama. And I know it's probably just has to do with it being Bama, and I mean
right,
I can admit that right off the rip. There's no
right,
disrespect to Oklahoma. I don't really feel comfortable picking that, you know,
right,
as a and I if you told me Oklahoma beat Texas A&M at home that late in the season, I would not be shocked one bit.
right.
Um, you
Me
know what I
either.
mean? So maybe we are giving a little bit too much to Bama there, but I'm gonna stick with what I picked. But just kind of looking at it there, it's a good point to bring up. I don't really know what you know
That's where I got
Bama
tripped
has.
up.
Yeah, no, you're right,
Um,
man.
so
It ain't like
we
when it
know
used
that,
to be. Used to that would have been Bama was definitely at Bama was a team that you
right.
wouldn't just comfortably pick a team in the SEC to beat. No matter who they
Yep.
were. But yeah, you're right, man.
So from what I can tell, Mike, I looked it up real quick just because I was curious because I haven't heard a thing about it.
Yeah.
Alabama's starting quarterback for the 2026 season is currently locked in a heated, open competition between a redshirt junior Austin Mack, which I have heard his name before, and
Okay.
a sophomore in Keelan Russell. So you've
Okay.
got a redshirt junior who's probably never played realistically.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking significant, like
hmm
starting minutes. And then you've
Gotcha.
got a sophomore who's obviously probably never played in Keelan Russell. Kind of sounds like
Yeah.
they're in about the same type of boat as Tennessee is in a way.
Yeah.
Just
Just have
drawing the
them up.
parallel because we're fans of Tennessee.
Yeah. No, it does. I mean, that'll be interesting to see who comes out on top there and how that is. Uncertainty
Yep.
sometimes could make you really wonder what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that should
Without
be
question.
interesting. But I think I mean, 9 wins. You
Yeah.
know, I could see why it's kind of iffy. It could going back and forth there between 8 and 9. Obviously, 5 of those wins seem pretty. There's some real favorable matchups for Texas A&M at some of their home games. That's one
Hmm.
difference I've noticed with them and some of these other teams. Their home games don't seem to be too bad for what they've got
Right.
overall. Um, Moving on to the final team in the SEC to cover on this, man.
Yeah.
We're going to look at Vanderbilt. They are Vegas has them 5.5, favoring the over, so that would mean we got to pick them 6 wins. Um, this is interesting. I think that Vegas is probably going this route. 6 is pretty safe pick when you look at
Yep.
what Vanderbilt did last year and even the year before. Just um, the only and the coach. I think Vanderbilt's got a good coach, man. And they got
Yeah.
resources, so they might be able to really make something work there. I don't want to talk down on them like I did last year, but I think the reality is they lost. They obviously lost Pavia, who was the biggest part of their team, and
Right.
he obviously brought the energy and and was a very talented player. So he, really
Yep.
changed it around there, and they really had a lot of players that had played together for all 4 years and spent time there,
Yep.
and that helps. But when you lose all that, I can't help but think, and I think Vegas being 5.5, going with 6, so that's kind of in the middle. But I
Hmm.
feel like that's also they recognize that Vanderbilt lost a lot, and
Yep.
got to give that coach
Yep.
credit. So that might be giving them some credit for having about that many wins on that. But if you want to get it rolling, man, on this one, what do you think about
Yeah.
Vanderbilt if you're picking the wins, man? How it's going to be?
Yeah. First and foremost, crazy season last year, 10-2 in the
Yeah,
regular season.
yeah,
Um, you know, beat our team. I hate to admit that, but
yeah.
beat our team. So,
Proved us, yeah,
uh,
made us eat our words last year.
yeah, 100%. But like you said, Mike, and I don't think it's an understatement at all. Um, you're looking at a completely different scenario this season. I think
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so, man.
Right off the rip, man, Austin P. That's a dub. Delaware didn't even know they had a football team. That's a dub.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. And then you got the ACC opponent in North Carolina State. That's not a pushover team by any
yeah,
means. They're a good team. They're usually really good defensively. But the fact that it's at Vanderbilt, if we're finding 6 wins, looking at the rest of this schedule, I think you have to add NC State in for one of those wins.
yeah,
Because you're going on the road after that for 2 tough games. And then, looking down through here, I'm going to go ahead and just say Kentucky, um, Mississippi State. Now that's 5 right there. Austin P,
yeah,
Delaware, NC State, Kentucky, Mississippi State. Um, the rest of the schedule, man. I mean, there's only one team on here, and this may very well be what you decide, Mike. Just because it's kind of a little too obvious. If you have to find
yeah.
the 6 wins, it's probably got to be Arkansas, man.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think there's any other way you could spin it unless you just want to go out on a limb. But six
Yeah.
wins: Austin P, Delaware, North Carolina State. Then you skip a few games. You got Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. So those are my 6 wins for Vandy this year.
Yeah, man. I think it's honestly hard to argue on this one with you, and I'm just going to tell you I got the exact same.
Yep.
With Austin P, Delaware, NC State, um, Arkansas at home, and then Kentucky and Mississippi State. I
Yep.
just think those are the 6 obvious ones to pick there
Right.
to get 6 wins. Um, and I think Vanderbilt can definitely beat those teams. I mean,
Yeah.
I do feel like um, even with Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas, I definitely think Vanderbilt can beat those teams. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe even favor them, when we really actually predict schedules and stuff. Because something I've noticed we've done here with the teams, specifically Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Those 4 teams, I think we kind of feel like might be, and again, I don't want to hate on Vanderbilt. I just think it's different than last year. Um,
Yep.
Vanderbilt may still be the best out of those 4, to be honest. But those 4 teams
Right.
seem to be those teams that we think might be, and the Vegas odds we're showing on might be more the bottom of the SEC. So when
Right.
you're picking wins that you feel confident about, a lot of those teams kind of we pick for each other. So if you go back and look, be like, well, you picked Vanderbilt as a win for Arkansas, or with
Yeah.
Kentucky, you picked Vanderbilt, Kentucky at home as a win for Vanderbilt. That's because we were trying to find those wins, right? So
Right.
those are games that really could go either way. But that's why I think that those kind of teams ended up kind of picking at each other a little bit, and um, when you're picking wins like that, man, it's just like Arkansas, Kentucky, even Mississippi State. That's just all teams. I just feel like I could pick them as a win against another team if I'm trying to pick, so many wins. So
Right.
interesting how that kind of panned out. But I think if you go and look at these 4 episodes we did, um, that's going to show who we think is probably going to be more at the bottom of the SEC. Well, I don't say who we think, who Vegas thinks is going
Right.
to be towards the bottom. Because these, if you go and look at it, it's just the obvious on what Vegas thinks is going to be towards that bottom of the SEC there. So, but yeah, the other ones, man. I mean, it's just hard to predict them this year as confident wins when you got at Georgia, at Auburn, Ole Miss, and Alabama and
Yeah.
Tennessee coming to town, going to
Yep.
Florida. I think even though Florida was bad last year, I think they're going to have a little bit of a bounce back into this year. And then um,
Mhm.
with Vanderbilt, though, it's not that. Yeah, I don't want to. Like I said, they made us eat our words last year, man. We did not predict them to be good.
Yep.
They A lot of things that we looked at, professionals weren't picking them to be good last year, and I think they just have a
Yeah.
good coach, and they had a complete team last year a team that had played together a lot, but had a true leader on their team that stood out, But
Yep.
now that all those guys are gone, it's just going to they're losing a lot. And I think a great coach can still do good for a program, and if I think he's a good coach, and he'll probably still make them competitive somehow to an extent. It's just when you lose that much, it's hard to imagine them winning much more than 6 games, next
Yeah.
year. But
Yeah.
I think that's why Vegas is where it's at.
Yep.
But man, this has been a really fun series, honestly. Just it
Yeah.
kind of takes the pressure off having to really try to more so than just picking schedules and picking wins and losses. It gives it a little bit more entertainment with it. Like this is what Vegas is predicting. Let's see if we can find those wins. And that's
Yeah.
again, that's what we've been doing this whole series on it. Um,
Yep.
so you may very well seen one of our videos and be like, well, I think our team's going to get more than that amount of wins, and that may be true. I may think that when I break down or like looked at the schedule and actually broke it down and was like, this is who I think is going to win, but we are just picking what Vegas said and going with either a game up to the over or a game down to the under. So it's kind of what we decided to do with it. And
Yep.
I don't, man, I think it's been a really fun series. Obviously, anybody that's still watching, we encourage commenting, letting us know who you think's who those wins are gonna be. Um, I've enjoyed. We've had kind of quite a bit of comments on clips and stuff throughout this series. That's some of it's been arguing, some of it's been fun, and so we've had a lot of fun with it. On this. But Adam, anything, man, that you'd like to say to end this series?
No, man, I think it was a good idea that we came up with. I'm glad that we were able to put it together and do it. It's been super
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Something a little bit outside of the norm of what we do. I mean,
yeah,
kind of looking down and looking at a computer or a piece of paper or whatever, and just kind of
yeah,
not necessarily engaging in a whole lot of conversation, but
yeah,
I think it's something that when the season's over, Mike, this is where my mind was with this whole thing. So when the season's all said and done, and we look back at all this stuff that we predicted, and just see if we were right on some of the
yeah.
riskier ones that we picked, or see if the
Right.
obvious ones that we picked came out to be true. Were there any upsets
Yeah.
that just threw it all off? You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
it'll be really cool to go back afterwards and see where we
Yeah.
stand with it. But obviously
Absolutely.
we've got tons more stuff to dive into before the season gets here. Mike, I looked it up. We're 53 days away from college football kickoff, man. So
It's crazy, man.
it's getting here, dude. It's getting here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like a fun gear up series that we got to do. I feel like gearing us
Yep.
up for college football, and I mean we're already in July, man. So and of course this is it's coming out after, but anybody else, you had a happy 4th of July weekend as well. It's kind of hard to believe it's already July, but after
Yep.
this month and next, man, we'll be right there. So I've definitely enjoyed it. Thanks if you are still watching, you've kept up with us, and just make sure to like and subscribe helps us out. Um, Keep the comments coming, man. We enjoy it. So again, it's been a fun series, Adam, and on to the next one, man. I'll see you, dude.
All right, brother. Take care, man.